corner, we're going to look at multiplying polynomials. The first thing we're going to start with is using the FOIL method, and that is used when you have two binomials. It's a form of distributing, but it has a special sequence to it. First, outer or outside, inner or inside, and last. Okay, so let's first take a look at number one. So when we're using FOIL, my first terms in each binomial are the first. That gets the F. My outside is my outside terms of the entire set of binomials. My inside is right there. And then my last is my last terms of each binomial. So when I multiply my first term, I'm going to get x times x, which is x squared. My outside, I'm taking x times 7, which gives 7x. My inside, I'm getting 8 times x, which is 8x. And my last, I'm getting 8 times 7, which is 56. Now, the only thing I have to do to finish this up is to combine my like terms, which is right there. So I have x squared plus 15x plus 56, and that's my final answer. All right, let's try another one. So I have 2x times 5x. That gives me 10x squared. My outside, I have 2x and negative 1. That gives me negative 2x. My inside is 3 times 5x, which gives me 15x. And my last is 3 times negative 1, which is negative 3. Again, I'm going to combine my like terms and write my final answer in standard form. So highest power first. That becomes plus 13x minus 3. And that's my final answer. All right, let's try a couple more. First is y times 4y, which gives me 4y squared. My outside is y and negative 10. That's negative 10y. My inside is negative 7 and 4y, which gives me negative 28y. And my last is negative 7 and negative 10, which gives me positive 70. So that will give me 4y squared minus 38y plus 70. Okay, let's do one more. 3b and 2b, that gives me 6b squared. My outside, 3b and 6, gives me 18b. My inside will give me negative 18b. And my last is negative 9 and positive 6 gives me negative 54 when I'm multiplying. Okay, so again, I'm going to combine my like terms. So I have 6b squared. Now 18b minus 18b, that's going to zero out. So I don't have to write anything there. And then I'm just left with negative 54. So 6b squared minus 54. Okay, moving on. Let's multiply a binomial by a trinomial or vice versa, depending on which one comes first. So this is definitely a form of distributing. So I'm going to take that 2b and I'm going to multiply this whole trinomial. So 2b squared plus 4b minus 5. And then I'm going to do the next term in my binomial, which is negative 1. And again, I'm going to write that all again, 2b squared plus 4b minus 5. So I get 2b times 2b squared. I'm just going to distribute, and that gives me 4b to the third. 2b times 4b gives me 8b squared. 2b times negative 5 is negative 10b. Again, now I'm going to distribute the negative, so I get negative 2b squared minus 4b plus 5. Okay, now I have to combine my like terms. So again, I want it in descending order, standard form. So I only have one 4b to, b to the third. So it just gives me 4b to the third. B squared, I have 8b squared minus 2b squared, which gives me 6b squared. And then I have negative 10b and negative 4b gives me negative 14b. And then I'm left with my constant at the end, which is positive 5. Okay, let's take a look at one more. So again, this time my trinomial is listed first. So I'm going to take a squared. I'm going to rewrite my binomial, my next term in my trinomial, and again, rewrite my binomial, and again, my last term, and rewriting my binomial. Okay, so a squared times a gives me a to the third. A squared times 6 gives me 6a squared. You can keep distributing. Negative a squared minus 6a. And then I have negative 3a minus 18. Okay, I'm going to combine my like terms. So I have a to the third is going to come down. I have 6a squared and negative a squared, which gives me positive 5a squared. And then I have negative 6a and negative 3a gives me negative 9a. And then my constant, there's only one, so I'm just going to bring that down. And that is my final answer. All right, let's take some look at some Keystone application problems. So the Keystone is the Pennsylvania Keystone test, that the state's test that students in Algebra 1 have to take. So let's take a look at this first question. It says a polynomial expression is shown below. So it's this minus that, right? We would have to multiply that, distribute that through. I'm just kind of getting my sense of what's going on. And that says the expression simplifies to this right here. Okay, so I just rewrote that over there just for time. Okay, so what it's saying here is basically if I multiply this through and then I subtract that, I'm going to get all of this. Okay, so what it's asking for, my question, again, what are they asking? What's the value of m? So my m is right here. Now, that looks really complicated, right? So I'm just going to see what happens. So if I were to just distribute it through, I would take mx to the third and I would multiply all this by that. Okay. So I realize, again, in looking at it, that if I take my first term, mx to the third, and I multiply it just by this term, so we're just doing the first part, I would get m times 2, which is 2m, x to the 5th power. Okay, that would be my first step. Now, I could multiply all of this through, right? I could do that. But I do realize that my highest power here is going to be 5, and that's first set. Now, I realize if I distribute that 3 through, I'm not going to get anything x to the 5th power. So the only x to the 5th power I'm going to have, I already wrote down, right? This term times that. So I have 2m x to the 5th. Now, if I bring down that negative sign, and again, I just concentrate on 8x to the 5th. The rest is just what I like to call noise, a lot of extra information that I don't need. Okay? And in the end, that's going to equal, now wait a second, I don't have any x to the 5th. So that would technically mean I would have 0 x to the 5th, right? Or just 0. We don't write it like that. So that would just be 0. So in this case, I'm just going to concentrate on this box right here. Now I just have to get that m to this by itself. So how would I do that? Well, here's my wall. First, I'm going to bring that 8x to the 5th on the other side, because really what I'm looking for is that coefficient. So that leaves me with 2mx to the 5th. Now I notice I have an x to the 5th here and x to the 5th there. Again, I'm just going to kind of ignore that, and I'm left with just my coefficients. So I have 2m is equal to 8. Divide both sides by 2, and m is equal to 4. So 4 is going to be my final answer for m. Okay, so again, you don't have to do the whole problem. Just concentrate on what you can do to get to your answer as quickly and as accurately as possible. All right, let's take a look at our next one. Kyle creates a painting on a rectangular canvas with a width that is 4 inches longer than the height. So the height is h, and my width is 4 inches longer than that. So I'm going to take h and I'm going to add 4. Write a polynomial expression in simplified form that represents the area of the canvas. Now remember, area is equal to length times width. So all I have to do is multiply those here. So I'm going to do it right here. I have h times h plus 4. So I just have to distribute. H times h gives me h squared. H times 4 gives me 4h. 4h. So it's just h squared plus 4h. And that's going to be unit square. We don't know if it's meters or feet, so we're going to say just unit squared in general. Okay? All right, let's take a look at the next part of that. We're going to add, this would be sometimes the second part on the Keystone test. It says Kyle adds a 3-inch wide frame. So if we were to put a frame around here, it's going to be 3 inches everywhere. So here's the tricky part of that. This is going to be 3. That's going to be 3 inches wider right from here to here. Same thing, right? We're going to have 3 inches along this whole thing. So it wants a total area of the canvas and the frame. So now we have to be a little bit careful. So down the bottom, we have h plus 4. If I add the 3-inch frame on this side and add the 3-inch frame on that side, I have h plus, and I have 3 plus 4 plus 3, which gives me h plus 10. Same thing on the other side, right? My height now, I have h, and then I'm adding 3 to either side because of that frame, right? That frame's on both sides, not just on one side. So I have h plus 6. Okay, so the total area, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to multiply it. So I have h plus 10 times h plus 6. So now this is a binomial times a binomial, so we're going to use FOIL. So h times h is h squared. That's my first. My outside is going to be h times 6. So that's plus 6h. My inside is 10 times h, which is 10 plus 10h. And my last is 10 times 6, which is 60. I combine my like terms. I have h squared plus 16h plus 60. And that again is units squared. I'm not sure which unit we're using, but regardless, it's going to be squared. So it's a 60 there. Okay. Thanks so much for stopping by today. You have a great day.